Hello there and welcome to another Pleasure Beach Experience video. Recently on Pleasure Beach Experience Monthly, me and Mike spoke about potential new developments at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and we did joke about how we'd be looking for markings on the ground to suggest that a new ride may well be coming to the Pleasure Beach, or something new may be coming to the Pleasure Beach in the near future. Yesterday, on Saturday the 15th of September, I was at Blackpool Pleasure Beach and I was mainly doing some filming of the roller coasters for a couple of videos I've got in mind for the channel, mainly to be done out of season when the parks are closed. And we've got those closed season blues, so I'm stocking up on our 4K footage for the out of season. But yeah, I got a message literally just before I was leaving the park to say, Scott, have you seen the markings? I was like, what markings? So I went back to the fountain area and had a look around, and I'm going to put some footage on the screen now of what I saw. So there is markings around where Trauma Towers used to be. There is markings on the back of Alice in Wonderland's building. Do I think they're for a new ride on this occasion? I'm not so sure. Have I heard rumours about a new coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? Yes, I have. And I'm going to talk about that first because I think it's an interesting one. A lot of people in the roller coaster community are sort of optimistic that Blackpool Pleasure Beach signed like a 2-free coaster deal with Mac. We have obviously not had any confirmation of this either way, but when we did speak to Nick Thompson at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, there will be a card in the screen for the interview that we did with Nick Thompson on Icon's Media Day. He did mention that new plans for the Pleasure Beach, new developments at the Pleasure Beach, were well underway and they were already well into the planning stage, and they'd got plenty of ideas of what they want to do. Could this be another ride from Mac? Well, we have been hearing quite a lot of rumours about a Mac Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Of course, this is not confirmed, this is purely speculation. I think speculation like this comes from the fact that Pleasure Beach have got a fantastic reputation with Mac rides. Does that mean that all of their new coasters are going to be Mac coasters? I doubt it. I mean, the Mac family own Europa Park, and even all of their rides aren't Mac rides, although most of them are Mac rides. But Pleasure Beach had a really good relationship with aerodynamics back in the day, and that is why there are so many aero attractions at Pleasure Beach. I do think a similar sort of relationship with Mac has been built, and I do think we'll see quite a few Mac rides being built at the Pleasure Beach in the next 10 to 15 years. What they'll be, I don't know. But yeah, we have been hearing quite a lot of rumours that a Mac Big Dipper is going to be the Wild Mouse's replacement. It is purely rumour, it could be well off the mark. We've heard stuff like this before. We were hearing about launch coasters at Blackpool Pleasure Beach as far back as 2004. We got a launch coaster in 2018. These things can be in the planning for so long. I mean, I can remember going to Pleasure Beach the first year I had a season pass in 2005, and the staff on the Gold Mine were saying this is going to be Wallace and Gromit next year. These things at Pleasure Beach are always in the planning. They just take ages to happen because there's so much that has to go into it. You've got planning where these things are going to go, you've got budgets, you've just got all sorts that has to be done. Will a Mac Big Dipper happen at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? I've got a feeling it will. Will it happen where Trauma Towers was? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So the markings on the Trauma Towers site and the back of Alice in Wonderland, they're not for a Mac Big Dipper. I don't think so. I know many Pleasure Beach fans do want to see a Mac Big Dipper to follow on from Icon, and having been on Lost Gravity at Wallaby Holland, which is a Mac Big Dipper, I really hope Pleasure Beach get one because it is such a brilliant ride, and I don't know what they would do with it, where it would go, how many inversions it would have, but because they've got the same restraints as Icon, the airtime on them and the inversions are just amazing, and just talking about it, it's making me want to go back to Wallaby Holland. So will a Mac Big Dipper happen at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? I'm calling it. I think it will happen. When do I think it'll happen? I don't know. So let's move on to the markings. Do I think those markings on the Trauma Towers, AstroTurf and the back of Alice in Wonderland are for a new ride? No. Simply put, I think they're for a stage. I think they're stage markings for the late night riding event next weekend. I'm sorry if you were hoping that I was going to say I've heard about a new ride coming next year and that's what the markings are for. Honestly, I don't think those markings on the Trauma Towers site are for a new ride. Do I think that Pleasure Beach have got plans for Taroma Towers, Wild Mouse and the Bowldrome area? Yes, I do. I genuinely do believe it. And there's another rumour that we have heard, Pleasure Beach Experience have heard through a few sources within the coaster community. None of those are from people who work at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I might add, they're friends of friends and acquaintances in the coaster community. We do keep hearing that Pleasure Beach have been looking at an Intamin sky jump, I think they're called, so that would be like Falcon's Fury at Busch Gardens Tampa. Now if Pleasure Beach get one of those, that is the ideal replacement for Ice Blast. It's something that's tall, it keeps a decent skyline, it's intimidating, and it's a ride that I will genuinely crap my pants on. So if Pleasure Beach do get an Intamin sky jump, I think that's the correct term for those kind of rides. Yeah, that'd be really good. It would be terrifying, but it'd be really good. I think Ice Blast is coming to the end of its time. It's been at Pleasure Beach for, what, 21 years now. I think it's past its sell-by date. It's not the ride it used to be. It's probably scary for the first time rider, but I don't think that it's the ride it once was. And I think another tower ride, whether it's like Apocalypse at Drayton Manor, whether it's like Falcon's Fury at Busch Gardens Tampa, just something like that needs to happen. Finally, on this rumour mill video, you could call it, we've heard a couple of rumblings about maybe there's going to be a couple of changes in the flat ride lineup at Blackpool Pleasure Beach concerning Skyforce. If Skyforce doesn't have much longer at the Pleasure Beach, we'd love to see an Intamin gyro swing like Loka at Leesburg replace it. That would just be epic. This is just my opinion though. I'd just love to see one of those replace Skyforce. Do I think Skyforce will be at Blackpool Pleasure Beach next year? Yes, I do. Do I think it'll be there in 2020? I'm not so sure. Do I think Blackpool Pleasure Beach is getting a new ride for 2019? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think it's going to happen. I think next year we're still going to need to embrace Icon and treat it as a new coaster, because it still will feel like a new coaster, and next year is Icon's first full season. So yeah, I know that this is probably quite disappointing, because in the past we have come with good news about new roller coasters. We did Icon updates for 2 years. We were telling people that a new roller coaster was coming long before Pleasure Beach announced it. That was because there was markings on the ground saying track. That's because we'd heard so much from people at Pleasure Beach and from other parks and from in the roller coaster industry who were telling us you are going to love the new ride at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And we do. We love Icon. But do we think a new coaster's happening next year? No. Do we think a new ride's happening next year? No. Do I think there's going to be a stage where those markings are next week? Yeah, I do. I think they're for the late night riding event. But I do think there's new rides coming at Blackpool Pleasure Beach starting with 2020. So please let me know in the comments what you think. I'm interested to see if you've heard anything, if you know anything, or if you have any opinion on what Pleasure Beach should do in the coming years. I know many of you want to see a Mack Big Dipper. I know many of you want to see an RMC. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's going to be an interesting couple of years at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. But yeah, I just wanted to come in front of the camera, speak to you about the markings at Pleasure Beach, and just sort of pour some cold water on the hopes that they are for a Mack Big Dipper opening next year, because I just don't think that's the case. So yeah, that is us coming to the end of this Pleasure Beach Experience video. Before I do, I just want to make a point about something. We are doing our last big order of Pleasure Beach Experience merchandise in the next couple of days. If you would like to support the channel and get a Pleasure Beach Experience t-shirt or a Pleasure Beach Experience hoodie, please drop us a message at pbexperience@hotmail.co.uk. We'll give you all the details. We do not make profit on our t-shirts. We make no profit on them whatsoever. We charge what the supplier charges us and the postage that the Royal Mail charges. So if you would like a Pleasure Beach Experience t-shirt or a hoodie, please get in touch and we can sort that out. But we are doing our last big order of the year for those until probably March time in the next couple of days. Thanks for watching this Pleasure Beach Experience video, guys. Really appreciate the support. I appreciate that you might be a little bit annoyed at me for doing a video about markings that are just for a stage, in my opinion, but I wanted to pour some cold water on it because there's a couple of pictures floating around, including on PBE Facebook, which started a bit of speculation yesterday. I don't think they're for a new ride. If you do, please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Pleasure Beach Experience video.